No, seriously, this season threw me for a loop. It had an amazing start with the backstory and everything. Then the transition to present day was interesting. The characters, the animation. It was honestly one of the best anime seasons I had seen in a long time, right? But obviously that's kind of because the animators, you know, were kidnapped by Mappa, taken to the basement. They had to drink their own piss, eating their own nails, to the point where even the creator was clearly affected by it. Because what the f is this? I have 3 parents. Okay, cool. Yeah, of course, not true. Pause. Okay. What was going on in that basement for them for this to be the product? I don't understand. And then there was another part. Where was it? Onishi. That part too. What is going on? But let's be real. Past the casual consumer lens that is blindsided by all the amazing animation, great voice actor, decent music, you know, there is always more that could be done. There is always something missing in terms of immersion. At least I think there is. And so I decided to investigate. And I'm going to make my own narrative immersion score to check whether I am right or whether there is really nothing missing. But spoiler alert, there was. Before I get into it though, check out ABENI'S Army. She's waiting for you, and I'm waiting for you to read it. So I hope you, let me know what you think at any point. But yeah, the video first. To know what was missing, we need to know what it had, and we also need to know what narrative immersion is. Like, what am I gonna do? What's the narrative immersion score? If you've not known about it, I doubt you do. I mean, maybe you do because you watch my videos. Either way, I'm gonna explain it very briefly for you. Go to the narrative immersion video if you want to know more. Basically, narrative immersion is a way of measuring our engagement with fictional media. Narrative immersion can be split into 2 subsections: transportation, identification, and then I take all these different subsections and stuff, I make it into a score that I can use to rate fictional media. It is subjective, of course, because I am manually, like, you know, saying, oh yes it is for this part, or yes it is for that part, but it's definitely got a lot of psychological backing from studies by yours truly, as well as other psychological studies. So yes, it is a pretty decent way to measure, I think, fictional media engagement and immersion, basically. Yes. So what did JJK season 2 do well? Well, in terms of transportation, the first half of the narrative immersion thing, it hit all the points. It had a great inside world. We knew about what was going on in the inner workings of the JJK sorcerers. We knew about how the Jujutsu sorcerers was working, yada yada yada. The outside world, which was the enemies, I suppose, the curses and everything, and also the people who weren't involved, so the normals. We got a lot about both of those other aspects that are not our main cast or are the focus of our show, and we got to learn about them, and that was great too. We got to learn about abilities and skills. I mean, honestly, we almost learned too much about abilities and skills. They really went ham. They were talking about different types of sorcery, different reverse techniques. We learned about, you know, like so many things. That's definitely another one. Interesting events. There's loads of interesting events throughout. Sukuna, you know, coming out. Even before then, the whole war, the whole thing in the beginning with the girl dying and Geto changing into this kind of villain-esque thing. And I know there's a movie. I haven't seen the movie. I really want to see the movie. But yeah, what led up to the movie, which led up to the season, I get that. And then we got Megumi's dad, you know, brother, that guy. We got loads of people coming up and changing the tide. And then we also have the attention grabbing aspect of it. Was it attention grabbing? The hell yes, it was attention grabbing. So that's an easy tick. So then we go to identification. Then we have the MC, which I actually am giving a 0.5. We're going to be talking about that later. Side characters, great. They represented what they needed to represent. They told the stories they needed to tell without overstepping and without giving too much, giving only what's necessary. That's kind of what a side character I feel like should be, and that's exactly what everyone was. Villains / conflicts, amazing as well. I mean, we got so much villains and conflicts between the people. Deaths, we had morality, ethics issues, all these issues, just so many villains, so much amazing stuff happening, and it was just, yeah, I could not give it a point. Motifs and themes are really good as well. Fingers for one, as a motif. We have loads of different weapons and loads of different things, like, you know, the blood thing. Blood is thicker than water, that kind of thing. It really suits that character. Yeah, we have the nails, we have the box that Gojo was put in. It's quite nice little metaphors that that we're getting there, or not metaphors, but motifs. And we got loads of nice themes. We've got humanity, you know, we've got themes of immortality, things like that, which are more themes than conflicts, because the conflicts are what drive the story, what makes you interested in the story, and are pushing back and forth, whereas themes are more neutral. And then last but not least, we have emotionally engaging. Was it emotionally engaging? And that's another 0.5 for me, because I feel like there was something missed, and I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. So yes, stay tuned. So that's 5 for transportation, and that's 4 for identification. So in total, that's a 9, which is really good. I mean, a 9 out of 10 is amazing for immersion. I'm trying to be as neutral as I possibly could. Obviously, if you disagree or didn't have any opinions, let me know. But yeah, so I think it really is a 9 in terms of immersion this season. Like, it's near perfect completely. And to compare it to other things that I've rated before so far, I rated Oshinoko an 8 for immersion specifically, and Vinland Saga season 2 a 9 for immersion specifically. Anywho, let's get to the main part of the video, which was what was missing. And I've already alluded to it in the overview that I just did just now of what I think made the show immersive. But let's actually talk about the parts that didn't make it immersive, or what could have been done better. So the first thing that was missing from this story was the MC. What makes an MC so important to a story is that it is the focus point for the viewers. It is the lens that we learn the story from. It allows us to be grounded in one place and see the world in one view, so that we can actually understand and make our own judgments without that one POV like we have in our real life. It's just difficult for a lot of people to fully enjoy and fully understand something, and with this show they just wouldn't commit. It was the same thing as what happened in season 1. They refused to let Itadori be an MC and tell the story, but they also didn't want to just forget about him, because obviously the first episode it introduces him as the MC, as the main character, but they don't let him thrive as that. They just want it to be something to pull back on whenever maybe they feel like they need to ground us again or focus us around Jujutsu sorcerers and not whatever else they were kind of doing. And so yeah, it was just inconsistent, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. But it did happen, which is why I'm rating it a 0.5 and not 0, because there was points where they did go back to him and they did remind us, oh yeah, he is the MC. And we kind of did get grounded. You know, that whole thing where he was losing his sanity was really well done, and it really did help us to remember, oh, this is the perspective that he's having while we just watched Sukuna do what he was doing. And maybe obviously in that circumstance it wouldn't have made sense to have it be from his POV. It also wouldn't make sense to have it from Itadori's POV when we're talking about the villains, but you know, they could have done better. And I do have a few specific points where they really did miss more than gain, so that just I can emphasize the point a bit more, explain it a little bit better than what I have so far. So a first major sign that they were going to continue that kind of non-committal relationship with Itadori and being an MC is the transition between the flashback to the present day. So in the first 5 episodes, Geto is the MC, right? We see Geto, we see his POV. It really does help to ground us in understanding what is going on in the story, what he's thinking, and try and follow someone's thought process. I really like that they chose Geto, because I didn't really know much about him. Most people didn't, right, before that point. And it was just, you know, a great way to introduce a new character, introduce a new plot point, and yada yada. Loved that part. But then they went to present day, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was kind of like, no, because like I wanted to watch more of what happened, right? I will watch the movie, I will. And then what do we get? We get them going to Itadori went to the cinema. They're gonna go eat in a cafe, and then we get like five minutes with the main cast, and all of a sudden they're going on a mission, and then halfway through the episode the POVs change, so we get no grounding in Itadori. We never really remember him. We don't get refamiliarized with his POV. We just bounce right into it, and there's no focus on him, and that really kind of disorientates us. I mean, it made that transition episode kind of tough, because obviously it was still good. Loved the visuals, loved the sound, loved the way the plot was going, but character wise, especially the main character, or just having a kind of place to land. We didn't get that. We were just on shaky ground. We were just, oh here, this person, oh here, oh here, oh here. Whereas with Ghetto, we just had a nice, stable, consistent place to be with him in his head, right? And I just wish they committed, like, I just either commit or don't commit. And then from episode 8, I believe, he fights a grasshopper curse, and it's like as if the writers just suddenly remembered he existed, or the creator. I'm not sure how different it is from the manga, but it's like whoever wrote it just remembered he existed, and all of a sudden we're gonna watch him fight for like however long, and it's like, why? And then we get some things like more fights, you know, more fight-based focus on, does that even make sense? More fight-based focus on Itadori. So when he's fighting with Megumi, he's fighting that guy, that was a really cool fight. And then when he's fighting Choso, I just remembered his name, Choso, the guy with the blood thing, and then we focus on Itadori again with that, and then obviously Mahito later on. That does bring us back to him, but it really, for me, it felt forced. It was like out of nowhere, you know, like our POVs were all over the place, right? We were listening to this person talk, that person talk, this person talk, and then all of a sudden we're just gonna focus long periods of time on Itadori. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's just a side character, like he's not even the main character anymore. But with the amount they did it, it felt like he was supposed to be the main character, but then it's just they're not committing. This is what I'm saying, like they're just not committing to him, because you can't have half the time be his POV and then the other half be everyone else's POV. Either do 80-20 or do 80-20, like don't make him be 50-50. It's weird, at least to me, it's weird. The last focal point that Itadori really shone was the breakdown. So, you know, we had the transition where they tried to bring it back, kind of failed. We had the fights where they tried to bring it back, kind of failed, kind of didn't. But the breakdown, that recentered us completely around Itadori. It like threw us back in his head straight away. That whole period from like episode 17, it just, I forgot what we were doing. I was just like, oh my god, Itadori, oh my god, I can't imagine how it feels, oh my god, you know, we all suddenly got reorientated back into his head and understood what was going on. Why was he upset? You know, how was he feeling? And just everything around that was great. I was gonna say spectacular, but I'm not 50, but age is just a number. Anyways, it was spectacular. I loved it, really, the way that they were trying to really show us what his perspective was. Obviously, you know, he's taking a lot of blame, and I wish he wouldn't, but it made a lot of sense, so I enjoyed that. That's kind of what I think was missing in terms of MC, basically, as a whole. I just think Itadori was not the MC, and that was strange, because he was supposed to be, clearly. It takes away slightly, just ever so slightly, 0.5, I said, just so slightly from the immersiveness of the narrative, the story narrative of JJK season 2. So yeah, if Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 could, you know, have him be the MC, that would be lovely. Lovely would appreciate. Lovely would appreciate. So the second thing that was missing that could have made the story narrative just a little bit more immersive was the emotionally engaging aspect of it. So the point I'm trying to make here is that, for me, emotionally engaging scenes and stories need to provoke feelings of empathy, care, interest, right? But with most emotional scenes or most emotional lines and parts and just episodes in general, they were often easy to disconnect from. And I'm gonna explain a bit better with different, like, a few examples as well, like I did before. But I did give it a 0.5 because I'm not heartless, and it did shine in some ways. I just think that it also lacked in the same amount of ways. So I mean, there were some really good parts, like, you know, we had Gojo seeing Geto, or the shell, I suppose, of Geto, who's inhibited by this brain thing, and that was really, oh my god, I actually really got touched by that. It was really weird, because it's like 5 episodes and I really care so much about their relationship and this character, but it was amazing. I really think that exchange was just really touching and sad, so I think that did its job. It wasn't like, obviously it wasn't cry worthy, but it did exactly as much as I think it should have done. We have Itadori's breakdown, you know, I told you already just now, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. It made me feel sorry for him, basically. And then we had Nanami's death, which bothered me, because Nanami was literally one of my favorite characters. I loved him. When we saw him in season 1, I was like, this is my guy. This my guy. And then they just kill him, you know. So that was good, I guess, for the story, but annoying. And then Nobara, her death, Wink, wink. That was really good as well. I did like the flashback quite a lot. I didn't think I would, because when they just suddenly went to flashback, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, they're gonna kill her? But I actually really liked it. And then also, you know, flash forward to the woman who was talking to her colleague, and the whole overlap of those two scenes were just really nice. So I did enjoy that. But there were also bad parts and bad places where they failed, I feel like, to emotionally engage us. So we had like the villains fighting over Itadori and what their reasons behind it. I didn't care. I mean, I'm not sure if I was supposed to. It kind of felt like I was. I didn't mind the conversation, but I didn't feel anything. I was just like, all right, like, okay. And then, you know, the morning ghetto, which was actually not that bad. It was just the placement. Yeah, this is something I wanted to talk about. You think after I'm watching Sukuna up that midway I want to see you guys talking about ghetto after my boy Sukuna? Listen, I don't like villains. I don't. But you'd have to listen, he is the perfect guy. Are you not down bad for Sukuna too? Tell me right now. Don't lie. That mofo's cool as hell, okay? Anyways, but this is what I'm saying. Do you think I was, at that time, it was the correct time to be showing me how you're mourning ghetto when we're watching Sukuna? Did you really just interrupt my fight for that? So obviously I couldn't emotionally engage with them. Do you think I cared? Like, I was like itching to skip. And then Jogo's death, which, you know, has the funny meme that I'm proud you cooked, you know, that kind of stuff. So that was, I mean, I tried to care. I didn't, because who cares? He's awful. I don't care that he died. He's awful. He's cruel. You see how he tried to fight Gojo, sacrificing people like that? It was, do I care? Do I care about his emotions and feelings? Like, he can die crying, I don't care. But they had to make it all this fluff nonsense. I don't care. It was another thing. Sukuna killing civilians. I wish they did more on that. Because the thing is I wanted to care. I did. I wanted to care. But the problem is, the fight was so badass. Like, you know when he, like, just appeared out of nowhere? When the, like, boulder or whatever, this flaming, it was coming down, he was like, wait for it. Mother. Like, yes, people will be dying. Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware that people are gonna die. I'm aware. But I couldn't bring myself to care. I'm sorry. I feel like they really could have just done more. They you know, they did show us some POVs from the civilians, but like they could have just, a dad could have been trying to save his son, like running into the rubble and then got crushed, you know, something sad. Then I would have felt something. The reason why Itadori's breakdown really hurt was because of Itadori and how he felt, not because me mourning the people. It's like seeing an empty building and just a bunch of space just cleared out is really sad, but it's still like, there's no bodies. Like, show me bodies, make me feel sad. Like, why did they it's like they censored it. Yeah, so I just struggled. I struggled to be emotionally engaged with, like, you know, the loss of life, or the idea of the loss of life during Sukuna's fight. So yeah, and then Mahito's fear, I was living. I was happy, bro. I mean, to be technically fair, I'm saying that it wasn't emotionally engaging, but like, I was emotionally engaged, just not sympathizing with him. I was happy. I was smiling. I was like, ah! Like, I was I was laughing. Maybe not laughing, but I was just kind of like, left this bitch right. Look at him screaming after all those lives he took and ruined and destroyed. Like, do you think I care that he's crying? But I don't think the point was that. I don't know, it felt like they were trying to make us sympathetic in a way, but also like understand that he's just another being in existence that feels pain. And I get that. Or maybe they were trying to make us just like feel really sorry for him, or maybe they weren't trying to do anything. Yeah, the voice actor did well, but sympathy was not something I felt when I watched that scene. It was not in the repertoire. It wasn't. So yeah, really and truly, the emotionally engaging aspect missed a bit. You know, it missed because a lot of the time when they were trying to be emotionally engaging, it interrupted the hype. It interrupted the action. You know, we even had, I didn't mention, but Megami's dad at the end where he was talking to Megami, and we kind of got a bit of closure for that. It was really nice, and I really liked that motion, like that scene. It really helped me to feel better, and I was so excited. I thought we were gonna have more, but we lost him afterwards. He just disappeared, and I was like, why would you get rid of him? It's like they kind of just showed him. They literally just showed him to give us closure from what happened before, even though they could have done something else to do that. After realizing that, it kind of took away a bit from how emotionally engaging it was. I was like, you could have just not done that. And we could have had him be a player in the story and it would have been great, but instead they decided to kind of tie it up with that little knot. And I was almost bitter that they did that. It would have been so cool if Toji was actually there in the war. It would, anyways, missed opportunity. Well, I mean, maybe not missed for them, but for me, it was missed. I missed him. And then, you know, not just the fact that it interrupted the action, but also that it was with characters that I didn't really care about, like villains specifically. I didn't care about the villains' feelings. I just didn't. I know that they were struggling and with stuff, but their cruelty is too far gone for me to be like, oh, sorry, like, I'm feel bad for you. And I can't empathize with them when they are just like that. So I don't know why they kept trying to provoke those reactions, you know, when different people died or when different scenes were happening with the villains. Like I didn't care. So yeah, I think that took away from how emotionally engaging it could have been. Yeah, so that's it. That's what was putting Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 from being a 10 out of 10. That is what was missing from Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, JJK season 2. If you want to do one thing, then subscribe. Let me know down below if you agree. Watch the psychology reviews playlist. That's 3 things, but you can multitask. I believe in you, girl. Boy, I believe in you. They, how do you say, what's a gender neutral version of boy or girl? Child. No, that's not it. I know it's not. Okay, Jannyeong,